I'm about to tell you something you definitely don't want to hear. Your train tickets just got more expensive by almost 5%, and you're about to be even more angry. What if I told you that these broken, expensive trains are the reason why Britain is in the mess it's in right now, and we're on our way to becoming a third world country very quickly? I'm going to show you 3 ways in which our outdated railway system is the reason why other countries are leaving us behind and why Britain remains broken. Firstly, tourism. Trains are so expensive in the UK that people would rather fly to Spain or France than travel England or Wales or Scotland and explore some of our destinations. Don't believe me? Check out this video from Bold and Bankrupt where he visits one of the most deprived areas in the UK, Clacton, obviously Nigel Farage's constituency. And let's see what price he gets offered for a one-way ticket.
43 quid to Clacton.
So, not coming back at all?
43 quid, I can't afford to come back. How can we justify 43
They
quid?
probably don't. They don't have to justify, do they? They just do it.
£43. That means for a return ticket, you're basically looking at 80 quid. 80 quid. Genuinely, I've gone to Spain and back for that price. Half that price. I've gone to France for that price. It's ridiculous. No wonder these towns are deprived because they're struggling as it is, and if you want to get people to come and spend their money in these towns, they've already spent half their day's money on a train ticket there. And that's the thing this government and previous governments have failed to understand. If you want small local businesses thriving, people need money to spend. And if they're too busy spending money on big rail companies who refuse to bring down their prices, like an £80 return ticket to Clacton-on-Sea of all places, then they're not going to have any money to spend in the local restaurants or cafes or arcades in local seaside towns. And what's also interesting is that this is Nigel Farage's constituency, the man who consistently lies that the problem in the UK is immigration and that's why you're so poor. But his constituency is a really good example to show that that's not the case at all. He's lying to you. That ridiculous train ticket to Clacton shows you that people, instead of going to places like the Lake District or Portsmouth or Newcastle or Edinburgh, are deciding to fly to Benidorm or to fly to Nice or to fly to the south of Spain to get some nice sun, and they're doing it for half the price. That's why these towns are deprived. That's why these businesses are closing down. That's why no one can afford anything anymore, because people can't afford to spend that money because they're being blocked off by extortionate travel prices. Look at this example here. The owner of that company that charged Bold and Bankrupt 43 quid for a one-way ticket to Clacton made £500 million in profit in 2022, and their combined salaries of CEOs made over £5 million. So there's no shortage of money in the railway system. We're just being held hostage. These towns are suffering as a result of the UK's reliance on CEOs and their greed, their corporate greed. As is often the case in the UK, we're allowing the 1% to hoard our wealth, meaning that people, young, old, can't explore our country because they simply can't afford it. And that's only one way in which our railway system is giving us a one-way ticket to a third world country. It brings us onto my second point, cost. Now, we've all heard of the cost of living crisis, and we're still living in it. Despite what the news may tell you, inflation is still high and things are still really expensive. But what they fail to mention is that travel is often going up. It's never gone down, has it? Have you ever heard of train tickets getting cheaper? No, because that's part of the cost of living crisis. Now, you might think, well, surely there's another option, right? It's capitalism. You can take as many different trains as you'd like. Well, let me give you a personal example. You see, for me, twice a week, I need to travel from Cambridge to London. Simple journey, right? Lucky for me, there's 3 different services that can take me there: Greater Anglia, Thameslink and Great Northern. Not so lucky for me is that all 3 of these services basically have the same price, despite being 3 completely different lengths and 3 completely different destinations in London. You're only looking at roughly a £5 difference between the return tickets, with a rail card. And given that the ticket ranges from £30 to £35, it's a ridiculous price to be paying in the first place. So most common sense people are just going to take the fast one, aren't they? And that leads me onto my next problem, which is quality. Because even if there's 3 different services you can use, let's face it, they're all horrible and sometimes barely even usable. If you're lucky enough to get a seat on one of these trains, which, mind you, is the bare minimum I should be expecting for a £35 ticket, you're lucky if you don't face any delays or even sometimes cancellations. Compare this to the likes of Italy, Spain, or even Luxembourg, who have free public transport. If one of these incidents were to happen, for example, a geese being stuck in front of your train, yes, that's actually happened to me and resulted in an hour delay, you're less likely to be really annoyed because you know you've paid an okay price for that ticket and it's not going to bankrupt you. Whereas in the UK, you pay a ridiculous amount for a ridiculously bad service, and at the end of the day, you get nothing in return if something goes wrong. The best you get is maybe if you're lucky, a refund. That's it. No apologies. No, this won't happen again. Just a refund, and the same thing will happen next week and the week after and the week after. Trust me, I take these services regularly, and I know most of you will know. And my service isn't even that bad, to be honest, compared to the horror stories I've heard, up north especially. And we're comparing ourselves to other countries, but let's not even talk about China. Well, actually, let's talk about China, shall we? Check out this video of their latest high-speed train.
Meet the CR450, China's latest high-speed train model that's set to redefine how we think about rail travel.
The cabin here is quieter with more space to rest. I've been told that despite the faster speeds, noise is down by 2 decibels. The seats in business class can swivel 300 degrees. It's luxury at 400 kilometers an hour.
Looks nice, right? For context, this would get you from London to Birmingham in roughly 20 to 22 minutes and from London to Manchester in 50 to 55 minutes. Meanwhile, here in the UK, we're struggling to get HS2 done, right? With Rishi Sunak threatening to cancel it last year, and now we're looking at roughly a £70 billion bill just to get one singular high-speed rail line from London to Manchester. I can't believe it. And it's not even finished yet. This complete lack of innovation from the UK and the poor quality, expensive pricing is exactly what's leading us into a doom loop. We're forced into being a third world country with a few rich people in it who benefit off of our poverty, right? We're paying ridiculous amounts for ridiculous train tickets. Those CEOs and shareholders are benefiting off of it. Whilst we stay poor, they get richer. If people can't experience their country that they'd love to travel, if they can't go to local coffee shops in different areas of the country or different wildlife areas or different parks, if people can't find new jobs or move to new places, then we're going to be stuck in the same old problem we're currently in. Everyone moving to London and paying extortionate rent prices, which is a whole nother ballgame. If we want to solve our cost of living crisis and bring people out of poverty, one of the big ways we can do it is make travel more affordable. Dare I say it, even free. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure you check out one of these cool videos on the screen right now just for you.